I thought it was Chip, so I would say yes. How are you?
Subtle.
Quicker, Gary.
Into overdrive. Into it.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Before we begin our committee meeting, we have a couple quick housekeeping items to attend to. Our first order of business this evening is to convene in our role as members of the Schenectady County Tourism and Convention Bureau. To consider a resolution pertaining to that body, would the clerk please read the notice of special meeting of the Schenectady County Tourism and Convention Bureau?
Please take notice that pursuant to section 4.03 of the bylaws of the Schenectady County Tourism and Convention Bureau, there is a special meeting of the members of the Schenectady County Tourism and Convention Bureau, Inc. at 7 p.m. on Monday, August 1st, 2022, in the chamber of the Schenectady County Legislature, 620 State Street, Schenectady, New York, for the purpose of considering a resolution making appointments to the Schenectady County Tourism and Convention Bureau Board of Directors.
Thank you. Would clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Fields,
Present.
Mr. Russo, Ms. Pratt,
Present.
Mr. McGill,
Present.
Mr. Constantine,
Here.
Ms. Gatta,
Here.
Mr. Pizzoni. Here. Mr. Cuomo.
Here.
Mr. Paterni.
Present.
Ms. Osterlich.
Here.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
Here. Mr. McGarry.
Here.
Mr. Hughes. Mr. McDonald. Here. Mr. Jazinski.
Present.
15 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. Our first item this evening is resolution 22-01. The clerk will read.
A resolution appointing corporate directors.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Gatta.
Thank you, sir. We have 2 members looking to join our board, both from local hotels. We had a little bit of turnover during the pandemic. So right now we have Jason Hayes. He's the general manager at Courtyard Marriott at Mohawk Harbor. Lifelong Rotterdam resident, and he's been with the Courtyard organization around the area since 2007. The other one is John Gilbertson. He's the general manager at Doubletree Schenectady. He's been in the hotel business for many, many years, over 28, 30 years. And he comes to us from the Florida area, and I hope you support it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Fields,
Aye.
Mr. Russo. Ms. Pratt.
Aye.
Mr. McGill. Mr. Constantine.
Yes.
Scata.
Yes.
Mr. Pizzoni.
Yes.
Mr. Cuomo.
Yes.
Mr. Paterni.
Aye.
Ms. Osterlich.
yes,
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes. Mr. McDonald. Mr. Jazinski.
Aye.
15 ayes, 0 nay.
Thank you. The resolution is passed. And that concludes our business for the special meeting of the Schenectady County Tourism and Convention Bureau. Is a motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Meeting of the Schenectady County Tourism and Convention Bureau is adjourned. Next, I'd like to call to order this evening's public hearing, which pertains to the Schenectady County Community College budget. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Fields.
Present.
Mr. Russo. Ms. Pratt.
Present.
Mr. McGill.
Present.
Mr. Constantine.
Here.
Scata.
Here.
Mr. Pizzoni.
Here.
Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Paterni.
Present.
Ms. Osterlich.
Here.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes. Mr. McDonald. Mr. Jazinski.
Present.
15 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. Clerk will read the notice of this evening's public hearing.
Notice is hereby given that the Schenectady County Legislature will meet in legislative chambers in the Schenectady County Office Building, 620 State Street, Schenectady, New York, on the first day of August 2022 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of hearing all interested persons on the question of adoption of the budget of the Schenectady County Community College for the period commencing September 1, 2022 to August 31, 2023.
Thank you. And members of the public wishing to address this public hearing, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to comment during the public hearing? Anyone wishing to comment during the public hearing? Anyone wishing to comment during the public hearing? See no comments. Public hearing is now closed. And our next order of business is a special meeting to consider a resolution setting the location of our August regular meeting. Will everyone please rise for the invocation to be delivered by our clerk, Jeff Hall.
Almighty God, creator of all and judge over all, we pray thee to guide our work in this meeting and in all our duties. We pray for our officers and members of this legislature who serve and guard the welfare of the citizens of this community, that by thy blessing they may be enabled to discharge their duties honestly and well. We pray that by thy help they may observe the strictest justice and preserve untarnished our loyalty to our county and to thee. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Legislator Pizzoni.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Fields.
Present.
Mr. Russo. Ms. Pratt.
Present. Present.
Mr. McGill.
Here.
Mr. Constantine.
Here.
Ms. Scata.
Here.
Mr. Pizzoni.
Here.
Mr. Cuomo.
Here.
Mr. Paterni.
Present.
Ms. Osterlich.
Here.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
Mr. McGarry.
Here.
Mr. Hughes. Mr. McDonald. Mr. Jazinski.
Present.
15 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. Special meeting is now called to order. Would the clerk please read the notice of special meeting?
Please take notice that pursuant to subdivision 3 of section 2.03 of article 2 of the administrative code of the county of Schenectady, there is hereby called the special meeting of the county legislature on Monday, August 1st, 2022 at 7 p.m. by the call of Chair Anthony Jazinski Sr. in the legislative chamber, Schenectady County Office Building, 620 State Street, Schenectady, New York, for consideration of a resolution setting the date and time and location of the county legislature's August 9th meeting.
Thank you. Our first item is Resolution 112-22. Sponsor is the Committee on Rules. The clerk will read.
Mr. Fields.
Read.
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. A resolution designating a change in place of meeting for the August regular meeting of the Schenectady County Legislature.
Any discussion? See no, clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Fields.
Aye.
Mr. Russo. Ms. Pratt.
Aye.
Mr. McGill.
Aye.
Mr. Constantine.
Yes.
Ms. Scata.
Yes.
Mr. Pizzoni.
Yes.
Mr. Cuomo.
Yes.
Mr. Paterni.
Aye.
Ms. Osterlich.
yes,
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes. Mr. McDonald. Mr. Jazinski.
Aye.
15 ayes, 0 nay.
Thank you. The resolution is passed. And just to note for the record, our August 9th meeting will be held at 7:00 p.m. at the new home of the Empire State Youth Orchestra, formerly the St. Joseph's Parish School, located at 45 MacArthur Drive in the village of Scotia. This concludes our business for the special meeting. This evening, is there a motion to adjourn? Second,
Second.
all in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
The meeting is hereby adjourned, and we'll move to our first committee meeting of the evening, the Committee on Economic Development and Planning, to be chaired by Legislator Hughes.
See. First item on the agenda for the Economic Development and Planning Committee tonight is a discussion and confirmation of an appointment to the Metroplex Board. And the appointment is being made by the supervisor of the town of Niskayuna. For those of you who are new to the legislature or those who are watching, the way the Metroplex Board is composed is that some of the members are nominated by members of this body in various capacities. Others are nominated by local government, but all, in order to serve, need to come before this body and be confirmed by the 15 of us. So we're here tonight with a recommendation from Supervisor Puccioni in the town of Niskayuna to nominate Dr. Haywood Horton, who's joined me here, for an appointment to the Schenectady Metroplex Development Authority. In her appointing letter, she says, enclosed, find a copy of Dr. Horton's curriculum vitae for your review. Dr. Horton is a professor of sociology at the University of Albany. And she says, I believe his expertise in the areas of public sociology, entrepreneurship, and community economic development make him well suited for this position. Dr. Horton is incredibly excited and honored to have the opportunity to serve, and I know he will make an excellent addition to the board. So that is by way of a letter of introduction. Sir, would you like to talk a little about your qualifications and why you're interested in Metroplex? And then there may or may, I have a couple of questions, but the other members may have some as well. When that little green light is lit, it is. We'll give it one more little push there. Perfect.
First of all, good evening. I want to thank this body for allowing me to have an opportunity to speak before you. Again, I'm Dr. Hayward Derrick Horton, a professor of sociology at SUNY Albany. All my life, I've been involved with community development, economic, and entrepreneurship. In fact, I specialize in those two areas. Perhaps most importantly, I even teach courses in those areas. I am also an entrepreneur myself. I have an entertainment business, HDH Entertainment. I have a Motown pop soul band called Doc Horton and the J Street Band. We've been performing throughout the area. Some of you may have even seen me for the last decade or so. I also have a consulting business, HD Horton and Associates. And with this business, we focus on community development, entrepreneurship, and leadership training. To be honest, I think that one of the most important things to me at this stage of my career, I've been a professor now for 39 years, and it's very important that I make sure that I leave where I live just a little bit better than it was when I got here. And to do that, all of us, and we all have our own talents, all of us have to give back to the community. All my life, I've done this. And in fact, as of last night, I finished a 2-year tenure as president of the Capital District Alphas, that is Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and this is a fraternity where we actually do community service. So all of my life, I've been involved with this. I've been involved with that organization for 46 years. And so anything that I can do to make this place better, Schenectady County better, I want to do. And so when this opportunity came about, I certainly was delighted that Supervisor Puccioni actually nominated me. And I certainly will continue to be of service to any and all in this county because I believe we have so much potential. One last note. When I first came here, I was a professor at Iowa State prior to coming here. And so I came here in the fall of 95. And I have to confess, when I first took that ride down Central, then it turned to State Street, and I came to downtown Schenectady, I must confess it was a little frightening. We all know that that there was a lot of economic devastation, disinvestment there. And what has happened over the last couple of decades is just remarkable. To come down State Street now, it is a marvel. And it's something I've always been proud of. Again, I'm a long time resident in Niskayuna. And I also have done some teaching at SCCC. So I had a lot of reason to come down here and just been totally amazed at how Schenectady, downtown Schenectady's been turned around. I certainly would be very proud to be a part of the continued growth of this county. Thank you.
With that, I'll open that to questions. Do any members have follow-up questions of Dr. Horton? Very good presentation. Oh, Legislator Osterlich via teleconference.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Dr. Horton, for coming in tonight and for presenting and for stepping up into this position. I'm so excited. I've never had the pleasure of seeing your band, but I have seen you serve on a task force in Niskayuna, and you've done an amazing job. And I just know I want to impress upon my colleagues how esteemed you are, how well respected you are in our community. And I'm just thrilled, frankly, that you're willing to move to the county level for service on Metroplex. So I just want to put a plug in and hope that my colleagues support you for this position.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments?
Dr. Horton, I'm just going to
Legislator
make a comment. I've never met someone with 20 pages of citations and accommodations and accreditations. So I'm honored to be in your presence. I too am an entrepreneur, and I look forward to, if you bring half the energy and momentum that these 20 pages indicate, then you'll more than make a mark in our community, and we appreciate your service.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I was going to draw recognition to Dr. Horton's curriculum vitae because as part of my responsibilities as chair, I felt I needed to read the whole thing, and I did, and it is impressive. And you bring a tremendous amount of expertise in a broad range of areas. So I think it'll work out well. But do we have other questions or comments, any of the members?
I would just like to make a comment. I want to
Legislator Fields. Legislator Fields.
thank you, Mr. Hughes. I would just like to thank Dr. Horton for taking the opportunity again to be part of the Metroplex board. I was there in the beginning of the creation of Metroplex with the New York State Assembly in writing it. And I think that what you have, as you heard this evening, is a good talent base that's helpful and necessary to grow Metroplex. And so we appreciate your dedication and your hard work that you've done so far in your life. I'm familiar with some of the organizations that that you're a part of. And so I look forward to meeting you, and as I have met some of your other colleagues in the Alpha organization. But thank you very much, and I wish you well and success to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
No further questions. Can I call for a motion in a second?
So, second.
Moved by Legislator McGill, second by Legislator Russo, I think. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, this body has confirmed you, and we look forward to your service on the Metroplex board. And the term is for 5 years, and we look forward to having you join the mix there.
Thank you, sir.
County continued success moving forward. Thank you so much. We have one other item on our agenda tonight. I think Commissioner Gillen is going to join me for this. When I get past this extensive resume here in the packet and get to that particular citation, this involves an easement of property at the Schenectady County Airport, and particularly it is with regards to the Stratton Air National Guard Base, which will be creating a new small arms firing range, and requires an easement for the county from some property that we own. And of course, we know that the Air Guard is very critical to our local economy. It's note here, where is it? Okay. Employs more than 1,000, creates more than 1,000 jobs, and has direct economic impact for more than 100 million in revenue. So it is always, in my opinion, in our best interest to take actions that strengthen the position of the Air Guard with respect to other elements of the military. And this one appears to have no impact whatsoever other than providing an easement for National Grid. Do you want to add anything? Because I'm
Well
sort of
said.
being
No,
loquacious
that's
tonight.
right.
about
No,
this.
no, it's a good thing that the base is winning investment in the form of military construction dollars. You probably read recently in the paper that there's a new simulator that's going into the base, which will train people not only at Stratton, but at other bases who will come to our community, stay in hotels, and train at the base. There's a new fuselage training program that's starting at the base. And this is another investment. It's very important in the world of bases to win MILCON, military construction dollars. The more military construction dollars you win, the more modern and advanced your base is, and the less likely that it's going to be considered for future cutbacks. So the base is getting a new indoor firing range. It requires an upgrade to the grid that services the base. This would be a good thing for the base overall to have an enhanced power capacity, because the county owns the base and the airport. They lease it from us. They need an easement from the county, National Grid does, in order to improve the power capacity and the lines that service the base. As Legislator Hughes said, these are direct numbers. We don't even count economic impact. The base has more than 1,000 employees. The base has a direct spend of contracts and payroll of over $100 million. We're not even talking ripple effect here. We're not even getting into the multiplier effect, just direct spend, 100 million plus, 1,000 plus jobs. So anytime the base asks us to do something, as Legislator Hughes said, we try to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. And we encourage everyone to support this and move it forward, as I know you will, because we've always been very, very supportive of the Stratton Air Base in this community.
Any questions? Can I motion from the Legislative Attorney, second by Legislator McDonald. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move to the agenda for next week. Committee is closed.
Thank you. Our next committee is the Committee on Housing, Health, Housing, and Human Services, to be chaired by Legislator McGill.
Good evening. The Committee on Health, Housing, and Human Service will now come to order. We have one resolution we have one item on the agenda tonight, HHS 8, which is a resolution to accept monies from Flooring Coffee for the improvements to Glendale Nursing Home and to approve budgetary amendments. If you want to say a few words.
Several months ago, when I was rounding in the facility, I had a resident stop me and basically communicated she'd like to donate funds for the facility. So I had told her I would get back to her in a couple months so I could meet with the team and look at opportunities where we could have the residents benefit from the donation. So after a meeting with the team, I had went back and presented 2 projects to a resident, Gene Coffee. And basically one of the projects was to fund one of 2 awnings that we would put in the front of the facility where residents could have a shaded area to visit with their loved ones and each other. The auxiliary is going to be paying for the other awning. And the second project was to create a conference room. So we would be buying furniture and AV equipment where the residents could use that for visitation and special events with their loved ones, but we could also use it to have them communicate with telehealth, also virtual visits with their families. Then management would use on occasion as well. So I presented both of those projects to Jean Coffey. And at that time, she said she would underwrite both of the projects. And the total for the projects, it's $15,790.74. So I was thinking, because of her generosity, that perhaps we could name the conference room the Coffee Conference Room. I think it has a nice ring to it, and maybe have a ribbon cutting and to officially thank her once that's done.
Thank you. I think it's just to say, I think it's important that we continue to support our nursing home and our senior community. So I think these are projects that will be great to move that forward. If there are any other comments or questions right now, now would be the time. Legislator Hughes.
I think it's a very generous donation, and we thank the donor for that. And I will be happy to move this to report.
There's nothing else. We move to report. Do we have a second? We have a second by Legislator Pratt. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have it. And the Committee on Health, Housing, and Human Services is closed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Our next committee is the Committee on Labor and Civil Service, to be chaired by Legislator Frisoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I call the Committee on Labor and Civil Service to order. There is one item on the agenda. It is LCS 16, a resolution to create a certain position at Schenectady County Public Health Services. Interim Public Health Director Keith Brown is here to provide information on this initiative.
Great, thanks. So we were given the opportunity through what was formerly known as our Office of Community Services. That's now a division under Public Health, with some additional state dollars to hire this peer veterans coordinator position. So as everybody's probably aware, peer services have become incredibly valuable over recent years, whether they be for people struggling with substance use, mental health, other issues. That having a peer, somebody who shares some lived experience with the folks you're trying to serve, is incredibly important. In talking to our partners in the community, including folks from Veterans Affairs, trying to figure out what to do with these dollars, it was determined that because we have the capacity to do the supervision, the oversight, have space, all of those other things, that it would make the most sense for the county to actually hire and house this position within us. So the person will be both doing direct peer level support with folks who need it, helping to connect them with services, provide additional supports and resources, but also to facilitate some activities and to do some things like that. So it's fairly straightforward. So we have to create the position with these dollars.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The initiative is reported to the agenda.
Thanks so much. Good to see everybody.
That concludes our business. The Committee on Labor and Civil Service is now closed.
Thanks, Chief. Our next committee is the Committee on Public Facilities, Transportation, and Infrastructure, to be chaired by Legislator Paterni.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'd like to call to order the Committee on Public Facilities, Transportation, and Infrastructure. This evening, we have 4 items on the agenda. The first is PFTI 11, resolution to amend the 2022 Capital Improvement Program to provide additional funding for the fleet replacement program of the Department of Public Works. And this evening, we have Paul Sheldon, our newly appointed Director of Engineering and Public Works, with us tonight.
Thank you. Thanks. As part of the Public Works Department's many duties, we oversee the vehicle fleet for all the county departments. This work involves maintenance of all the vehicles as well as replacement of the vehicle fleet as it ages out. Every year, we determine which vehicle shall be replaced and budget accordingly for the following year. This past year has seen costs increase significantly due to inflation and supply chain issues. We've been able to purchase nearly all the vehicles in our replacement program. However, based on current prices, an additional $40,000 is needed to purchase the last two vehicles. The current budgeted amount is $207,000. We're requesting your approval for the additional funding.
Questions of any legislators?
Your report.
Second.
Sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. This item is moved to the agenda. Our second item this evening is PFTI 12, resolution regarding budgetary amendments to the Schenectady County Department of Public Works operating budget.
Thanks. Maintaining the county vehicle fleet has evolved from a reactive to a preventative maintenance, increasing our fleet's efficiency and reducing vehicle downtime. This type of maintenance helps reduce the chance of large breakdowns, which helps reduce our costs for parts and repairs. However, over the last year, we have seen costs escalate dramatically due to inflation and supply issues. Every year, we budget this account based on previous year's expenses. However, with inflation at its current rate, our anticipated costs will deplete our account within the next month or two. We are therefore requesting an additional $200,000 in funding based on our anticipated costs for the remaining year. We're requesting your approval for this funding.
Questions?
So the question I'm going to have, just briefly, sorry, legislative attorney, is, or Mr. Chairman, the 200,000 is to purchase parts that we know that we're going to expend, or in preparation for replacement of that shelf spend down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, based on our previous spending habits in the past few years, we've always been probably around $700,000. I think last year's budget, we kind of dropped that a little bit, maybe anticipating lesser costs, not anticipating the inflation and supply issues that we have. So, unfortunately, we kind of got stuck in the situation we're in. So, we are back here asking for a little more money.
Is there value in buying more than what you're asking for in preparation for either continued supply chain constraints or additional inflationary?
Well, we're trying to be conservative. I've been talking about this with our people, and we're trying to be conservative without asking too much. Next year, we are asking for more, anticipation that inflation will continue to go up. But talking with our staff, we figure 200,000 should get us there to the end of the year. So
I appreciate the smart planning.
no problem.
Any other questions?
Move to report.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Legislator Gatta. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. PFTI 12 is moved forward. Our third item this evening, thank you, Paul, is PFTI 13, a resolution to amend the 2022 capital improvement program to provide additional funding for the lobby renovation project at the county office building. Step right up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott Tomlinson. I'm the facilities engineer at Schenectady County. I'm here to request authorization to amend the 2022 capital budget in the amount of $85,000 for the county office building lobby renovations. The current budget was created in 2017 of $159,000, and the low bid that we currently have on the project is $228,000. The additional funds will primarily be used for the asbestos abatement above the lobby ceiling and technology upgrades in the lobby. Once the space is abated, the scope of the lobby renovations includes removal of the glass smoking room, new furniture, technology upgrades, and new finishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Are there any questions for Scott?
Comment, our lobby is in sorry need of a facelift, and I'm glad to hear that we're able to move forward on this, albeit at a few more dollars than we originally planned. So I would move this to the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'm excited to second.
Thank you, Legislator McGill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Our final item this evening is PFTI 14, a resolution to amend the 2022 capital improvement program to provide additional funding for infrastructure improvements to the Glendale home. Thank you once again for being here.
We had some unexpected changes in our hot water tanks at the nursing home. We have 2 hot water tanks that provide hot water to the facility, and then we have 1 hot water storage tank. Within this past 9 months or so, one of the hot water tanks started leaking. So we've been monitoring it and making adjustments, and we feel this time we need to replace one of the hot water tanks and one of the hot water storage tank. The first tank that we have was replaced in 2020, and all of these tanks were original to the new construction of the facility. So with replacing the first tank in 2020, we've gotten a few years extra out of the second tank. So if we don't replace the tank, we could have the tank blow out, and then we could have an issue with the basement flooding, which could prevent a larger issue for us. So we are recommending at this point to replace one of the hot water tanks and also the hot water storage tank, which hasn't started to leak, but was installed at the same time as the other two original tanks. And at this point in time is showing some wear and tear. And the cost for these tanks, for the two tanks with the installation is $113,800.
Questions?
Just a clarifying question, how old are the tanks now? These tanks were installed with the original construction that we're proposing to replace. So it was at roughly 8 years.
8 years.
And I'm sorry, I don't know what's the typical lifespan of those types of tanks? Can anyone comment on that? I think it varies based on I know the hard water doesn't help, and we've been tweaking the water softener as well up there, which helps, but I don't know, Steve, if you know roughly. Yeah.
9 or 10 years.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Is there a better option, a better quality option possibly of a tank that will last 20 years per se, or?
I can't answer that question. I'm not sure about that. We did obtain 3 proposals from 3 different vendors for a similar replacement. We can go back and look at that if you'd like us to do that.
I think the lion's share of this number is probably labor. So the tank itself, if we can get a better tank to the last 20 years, it might be worthwhile investing a little bit more.
I can look into that.
Further questions by my colleagues?
Move to report.
Thank you, Legislator Hughes. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That item is moved to the agenda. And with that, Mr. Chairman, closes our business for the Committee on Public Facilities, Transportation, and Infrastructure.
Thank you. Next committee is the Committee on Public Safety and Firefighting, to be chaired by Legislator Constantine.
We'll call the order of the Committee on Public Safety and Firefighting. First item tonight is PSF 16, a resolution to create and eliminate certain positions at the office of the Schenectady County District Attorney. County Manager Fluman is here to answer any questions that you may have.
So our CAC, our previous director, who wasn't technically at a director level position, Lynn Chabot, retired last year. After she retired, after 30 years of service to the county, the CAC, which is housed in the district attorney's office, really wanted somebody of a director level to be able to run the CAC. Again, the Child Advocacy Center is that place in the county with any emotional, physical, sexual crime against the child occurs. It's a place housed in 388 where we have medical community supports, law enforcement supports, and the term forensic investigators. Also, our county social services are all kind of there to triage with the child, with the family, and to limit interaction so you're not re-traumatizing the child, again, is the point of the CAC. District Attorney Carney really feels that we need to have a director level person there. Because Lynn Chabot was with us for so long, she had quite the longevity line on how much we were paying her. So to transition from just a caseworker running the CAC to actually having a director level person is really only $10,000 more, which is covered by the following grant that we'll discuss later this evening.
Thank you, Manager Fluman. Any questions?
Move to report.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. PSF 16 is moved to the floor. Second item is PSF 17, a resolution regarding the acceptance of monies from the New York State Office of Victim Services for victim and witness assistance programs.
So the Office of Victim and Family Services gives us two primary grants through the District Attorney's Office to primarily assist us with funding for the CAC. This I'm asking for your guys' acceptance for me able to sign this 3-year agreement for the elevated per year cost revenue at $350,000 per year.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
PSF 17 is moved to the floor. Public safety and firefighting is closed.
Thank you. Next committee is the Committee on Tourism and Special Arts and Special Events, to be chaired by Legislator Gatta.
Thank you, sir. The Committee on Tourism, Arts, and Special Events is open. We have one item, TASE 1, a resolution regarding a seeker determination for the Mohawk Hudson Bike Trail Rest Areas Project in the town of Rotterdam. Ray Gillen is
you.
here to
Thank
explain.
you, Legislator Gatta. We were here a few months ago to accept the grant that we won on a competitive basis to improve the Rotterdam section of the Empire State Trail, to add some rest stops and some water filling stations and other amenities. That contract with the state has been signed. And the next step in any state project is to go through the seeker process. So we have to take a look at the environmental impacts of the project under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Of course, the impacts here are all positive because we're enhancing a recreational resource. So the item before you tonight is to look at the environmental impact statement that has been prepared by Steve Feeney. I want to thank Steve, and issue a negative declaration that the project in fact does not have a negative impact on the environment. So we issue a neg deck and accept the fact that the project does not have a negative impact on the environment, and we're able to move forward with the procurement and other items needed to improve the trail.
So moved.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Tourism, Arts, and Special Events is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our final committee meeting of the evening is Committee on Ways and Means, to be chaired by Legislator McDonald.
Call the Committee on Ways and Means to order.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, we have,
having examined the agenda and realizing that all the items before your committee tonight are dual referrals that we've discussed earlier, would you entertain a motion to move the calendar for Ways and Means in its entirety?
absolutely. We have a motion.
So
and
moved.
we have a second.
Second.
Legislator Gatta, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, all the initiatives are reported and the Committee on Ways and Means is now closed.
Thank you, Legislator McDonald, and that concludes our business for this evening. Thank you all.
I'd like to thank the body for the various, nice things that have been said about me, whether it's, first night, whatnot. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ryan, you're very welcome. Just to let you know, we're all praying and we miss you here.
Well, I hope to make it back. Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
God bless.
Thank you all.